born in Kenya, Mombasa. I moved to Nairobi when I was about 1, and can't really remember a lot of what it's like out there. Because I moved to London when I was 5 years old. Visited back home a few times, so I could really say that I'm a Kenyan British, more or less. But yeah, I think it's something that I really want to explore again. Really want to look into it again, as in my mom's background and traditions and just the culture in general. I'm a mom of 2 twins. They are 2 years old as well. And yeah, it's been interesting exploring myself as a mother. I've had performing experience, acting, dancing, and singing. Also modeling experience. I'm quite passionate about all 4 aspects. Really looking to push that, really. Push it harder than I ever have before, to be honest. But yeah.
My name is Georgina Igwe. I am 24 years old and it's quite complicated. I'm from various backgrounds. So I was born in Germany, raised in Holland, and then I moved to France. And then I had most of my background life spent in England in a boarding school. And I have 2 different sisters, 1 little brother, and then my mom and my dad. So we're a family of 6. My mom is Scottish, my dad's Nigerian, so we're mixed race. I have a little brother, he is 20 years old, 21. And then I have my other sister, she is married and she is 26. I'm really making up these numbers, I don't actually have any idea. And then Olivia, she's the oldest that you've probably seen, she is 29. So we're very close as a family. It's because of the background of my parents. My parents are from a very, very big family. My mom is from a family of 8, my dad is from a family of 6, and we've all been very close because of how family is being represented in both of the sides. We travel a lot, so I'm guessing that the reason why we're so close nowadays, even now, is just because of our parents. Our parents have always taught us that how difficult things are going to be, or how you want to enjoy your life, or how things are going to be, you're always going to need your family by your side. And that has really reflected in everything we've done. When I'm having low moments, my family is always there for me, and our cousins as well, which we're close to. And then it's just been that whole circle of life. So my mom has always been behind us, being like, no, if you have an issue, you need to communicate, because that's always how it's been with her family, and my dad's the same thing. So we always had that really strong bonding, and we just believe that, you know, nothing can go right without your family. No, nothing can go wrong without your family.
I was born in 1997, so I turned 21 this year, so I'm quite young. So yeah, I grew up in London for a majority of my life. I was born in Lambeth, in like South London, and then I went to a primary school in Lambeth as well. And my parents were originally from Ivory Coast, so they came from Ivory Coast, this country, in like 1995, just to do their life. My dad came in to study engineering, and my mum came to study, but she studied a bit later. So while my mum was looking after me after I was born, my dad was the one that was like the breadwinner. Like, he would go to school, he would work at night, and then my mum would just be at home with me, like bored, like maybe, you know, watching TV and stuff like that. So after that, I finished primary school in Elephant Castle. So I grew up in South London for most of my life, in Elephant Castle, and then I had like a shift in my life after my parents kind of separated. There was a lot of trouble at home because they had like infidelity going on my dad's side, so that was a bit too much. And plus my mum was a Jehovah's Witness, so with me it's like a mixture of different religions. So my dad's Catholic, mum's a Jehovah's Witness, so I had to deal with the whole family drama, and then after at the same time the whole strictness of being a Jehovah's Witness and going to the meetings, and I didn't really want to go, and so I kind of left that. So when I went to live with my dad in 2009, I was happy because I didn't have to go through that anymore. I was like, oh, okay, thank God I don't have to. And then, so I was living in West London after, and then after that I moved to Angola. So you can see that I'm starting to move schools a lot, and for me already it was a bit too much. Yeah, I mean, I've always been like a confident person and stuff like that, but after you have to start fresh a lot of times, and that happened for about 3 more years. So like I went to Angola for a year. I lived there. I was based there for 3 years, but went to school, international school there for a year, and that was only 9 months. So January, I went to Angola. I was like, okay, new school, blah blah. And after, when I settled in, when I people got to know me, that's when I had to leave. So with me, I kind of have this thing that stuck with me now, that it's like when I have a new relationship or friendship that's new and fresh, I'm like, is it even gonna last? Because I know that maybe it might cut off. So I'm not really used to having long-term relationships, or just in general, because of having to cut off. I'm so used to, because I'm not like someone else that's used to like having a friendship for so long, but for me it's like short term, because I've been conditioned to have that. So anyway, yeah, so I went to school in Angola for a year. After I went to a boarding school for 4 years, that's where I met Georgina. I went to boarding school for 4 years and didn't like it there. I was an angry child because I had to go back to England for like special reasons, but I can't say, it's a bit private. So yeah, I had to come back here, I had to be based back here. So my dad didn't put me back to him, my mum. I came to live in a boarding school. I didn't like it because I wanted to do stuff that was more artistic. I wanted to go to performing arts school, express myself, and I couldn't do that. I had to be in a boarding school because I don't like all these, some rich kids that are really rude and not nice. And so I went there and I did I left with GCSEs and an IB diploma, National Baccalaureate. And then after that I went to do dance at Lewisham College, a college next to Goldsmiths in South London. Then I spent time there, and then after that I went to Bird College. I worked towards that, and when I got there I realised that it's not everything that it seemed to be. And I looked and I was like, I'm already talented enough and I know what I'm doing. I'm already getting recognition for what I'm doing, so I'm just leave. Plus I don't like education anyway, so I was like, let me just leave. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, but I'm having fun anyway. But so for the past few months I'm just trying to find myself. Another reason why I left, because I just wanted to find myself as a human being, like who am I? Because we were just thrown into school. You're thrown into this education without even being a human being, not exploring yourself, not feeling things, doing things. I was like, you know what? And I'm really sensitive to my emotions and the environment. So I was like, okay, I need to just do this for myself as an individual.
So my name is Olivia and I'm a style consultant. So I help people to feel comfortable through clothes, but by working on themselves. I'm also a speaker, but I'm based in London now, but I've traveled around Europe. I was born in Cambridge and traveled as of 18 months. So I'd call myself pretty much a globetrotter. My mom is Scottish and my dad's Nigerian, and I have 3 other siblings.
My name is Raymond. I'm 33 years of age. I grew up in Manchester. I have 3 sisters. In the area which I grew up in, we were the first black family in that area. And so I was the first black boy in my school. And it was kind of a pleasant experience. Didn't really, there was a kind of an Irish community in the school. So their attitude towards people from different backgrounds was quite positive. We all had a positive experience growing up, and at the moment I'm a designer, like I do freelance design. Also I'm an artist as well, like I illustrate and I paint.
Honestly, it's not something that I've ever really paid attention to, so I can't really say yes or no. There's certain things that I've read about mixed race people that really make me feel uneasy at times. Coming from the black community, it just kind of misplaces you, really truly. Are you white? Are you black? Are you... What are you? You know, honestly, you just never know. You try and sway. You just want to be a people's person at the end of it all. You don't want to be white. You don't want to be black. You don't want to be mixed. You just want to be a person. My sister is of a darker skin tone than my brother. My dad is a darker skin tone, and my mother is a lighter skin tone. So with that, it causes a bit of a sensitive subject, especially at the school that she goes to. She's in her class, she's the only one of color or of a darker skin tone among the rest. I don't think it really bothers her that much. She just does her own thing anyway. I guess it just depends on how much focus you put into the fact that she is different to everyone else in her class, or to me, or to whoever. Mom tries to infuse different books, cultural books, as well as everything that she's taught at school, but schools aren't really that diverse in a sense anyhow. So, I mean, Black history only gets taught once a month. I mean, I don't know, it's a touchy topic for me in the sense that we should learn it but not hold on to it so much. You know, it's a part of our history, but we're trying to move forward, not hold on to it and stay in that same place.
To be honest, not myself, no. But I know that my dad, he basically told me a lot of his stories of like how it was when he was growing up, because obviously my parents, so my mom is white, my dad's black, and when they got married it was a huge topic between the family, how my grandmas did not agree with each other. They didn't. So let me go back. So basically my parents met in a church in Scotland when my dad was doing his studies, and then after I think it's 10 days my dad proposed to my mom and they got married, and they've been married since like 35 years now. But you can imagine in those days how black people and white people did not mix, and it was very difficult at the beginning. You know, my mom was very, very big background. You know, she did ballet, she had a very strong education, she had she studied nurse, so she had her doctorate, she had her nurse degree, so it was a fixed background. You know, it was like, you're going to do this, you're going to go there, and that for my dad, you know, he's worked very hard to become where he is. He has a BA, he has a master's, he has been on so many projects that are even bigger than they were back in the days. And when they got married, it was a hard time, because a lot of people were saying that, you know, black and white people should never be together. That's not how the culture is. It's not how history has been written. There is no such thing as mixed race kids. So I know that when we were traveling, when we were young, it was very like, oh look, that white woman with this black man and his babies. It was like, why is it such a big deal to see a family that is traveling? Okay, it's 6 people traveling all together, and that would always be very suspicious. I remember, you could even ask Olivia, when we were traveling to America, we would always be stopped and always been asked questions like, where are you going, why are you going to the country, what is your business, do you have family, do you live there? And it was all these questions all the time. Obviously when I was young I wasn't really thinking about it, but now that I'm growing up and we all grew up and we're just realizing that life can and is very different, we're just realizing that traveling was actually more of a struggle for my parents than it was for us. But for me personally, I haven't been or felt that way, but I know that my parents have gone through a lot, especially my mom. You know, the amount of times she heard it from her family, being like, you know, this is not the right person for you, you should never marry a black man, blah blah blah. And the fact that they're still together now after 35 years is, you know, it's a big fingers up to everyone who never believed in them. And I think it's beautiful. You know, when people ask me what race I am, I'm so proud to say I'm half Scottish and I'm half Nigerian. And everyone's like, whoa, how did that happen? And I'm like, you know what, yeah, it's a mystery, but it happened, and I'm 100% proud of it, and my sister's proud of it. And you know, when we're walking or when we're going somewhere on holidays, or 3 of us, you know, you see 3 strong black colorful ladies that are wearing all these colors. Obviously my sister's a bit more extravagant and I'm less, but you know, we all have that little detail that makes us very different. So we just embrace it now. We just try to sweep it off. We're like, you know what, that's fine, you didn't like the way we look, you don't like the way we talk, but we're 100% happy of how we are and how we're doing things. So personally, as I said, I haven't experienced it. Even if I did, I don't think I wouldn't go on a tangent, you know. I would just face the problem and I'd be like, we are in a generation that is growing so much and we cannot have this whole diversity of you're this and you're that. Let's not put people in boxes. We don't belong in boxes. We're supposed to mix and mingle. We need to stop criticizing people for how they look or how she should be with this person. We just need to let people be how they are and how they want to be, and we just need to change that. Honestly, there's more criticism of like how you should look and how you should dress and how you should do this. We just need to let people be how they want to be, and this is the world we live in. There's social media that sinks us in all these stereotype of how we should look and how we should have our hair. And to be honest, there's more and more girls that are, you know, not wearing the weaves, that are wearing their hair natural. I love having my braids because braids kind of like defines me in a way. But we can't have those people saying how we need to dress or how we need to be. We just need to live our lives and embrace it. So yeah, it was difficult for my parents, but their stories are so like, they're worth $1 million now that they say it. You listen to it and you're like, wow, you've been through a lot. But they came out stronger, and I think that's why we're all so close in our family. You know, we've lived things, but we've lived it all together. So it just makes the person who we are today, honestly.
I have, but it's very under the nose. I feel like when I'm in the workplace, I get a bit more attitude towards other people, especially because I'm a woman as well. So at the workplace, I feel like they want me to be I feel like they want me to be their little pet. Like if I don't obey them, they won't. Because I feel like when I go to the office, I have to try harder. In the interview, I need to push 10 times harder for them to like me, because they already have that stereotype of me already. So when I go to an interview, I need to be more fake. I need to be like, yes, I can do that. Yeah, I'm a good black person. Yeah. And after when I get that, I can relax. Oh, thank God. Because imagine if it was flipped over, if you were in a job interview and you're white, and then you're Brazilian, so it's different. But you know, because you're mixed. But if you're really white, imagine, and the black people are like the racist ones, and you're white, and you have to prove to them like, oh, look, I'm just, you know. And it's every day, and it's subconscious. And I'm doing it every day. And it's only that since I had this talk, I'm like, wow, I'm doing that. I have to prove myself every single second. I have to have that burden on my back every single day. Like, I'm not that this. I'm not that this. I'm just me. Like, even sometimes people call me fresh sometimes. Like, I've been called that once. Like, because I speak so many languages, yeah, and my accent gets a bit mixed up. So, like, say I will say something on purpose, like an accent that's a bit different. And, oh, you're so fresh, or so stereotype. I'm just, oh, you're so this, or you're so that, or you're ratchet, or this. If I start dancing like, hey, they think, oh, I'm ratchet, or not even me, I'm speaking for everybody. It's for everybody. They just say that. I'm just like, why do you have to say that? You know. So, but I feel like it does affect me, but I haven't had it so upfront, like in public transport, that someone's been like, hey, yeah, nah. It's more under for like people's looks, the way they act, the way the body language gets uncomfortable. I have to prove myself to them, like smile, like I'm a human being, like I'm nice, you know. And the thing is, like, it's only now that speaking about it, I'm like, oh my God, this is true, like it's actually happening. Yeah, I feel like my dad does it a lot. Like, he changes his accent when he's calling his friends on the phone. I'm like, you don't have, his accent's not even that bad. It's quite okay, but he has to make it a bit more. When he's calling his English colleagues or something, he has to make it like, hello, why do you have to do that? Why do you have to do that to be formal? Why don't you just accept the person as they are?
It's a very difficult question because I am half white and I'm half black. So I have encountered it, but not on a scale that my dad has or some other friends that have, which are much darker than me. But I have been discriminated on some level where I talk too loud. I'm too expressive. I talk with my hands. People don't like it. So for me, my approach is that I go with the flow. Like, if you don't like me, then that doesn't matter. I'm just gonna continue being me by still respecting the person that's in front of me.
The only time I can really say I felt discriminated is when my friends and I, we went to a club, and then the people at the club said, "Not tonight, boys." And we're like, why? This is not tonight. And then we found out later on it's because they had a policy of how many black people they can let into their club. Because in terms of like the kind of music that they're playing, a lot of trouble. Well, their reasoning was a lot of trouble had happened at the club because of large black groups of people. So in order for them to, you know, reduce the number of incidents, they thought, let's have a door policy that only accepts a certain number of black people. And they were complaining because of some of the attire that what we were wearing as well, like baggy pants, Timberlands and stuff like that. So there is incidents where you can clearly show that clearly shows that because of race or culture you've been discriminated against. But in my experience, I can only recall that situation, but I can definitely say that it was because of my race. But there's been other situations as well, but it's kind of a grey area because you can't exactly say whether or not that race was the determining factor. So situations like you might feel it could be racism, but you cannot say it was 100% racism. And I think there's a period where I know that there was a policy for companies to kind of show diversity in the kind of staff that they take on. And I remember even back in college, I was able to get 2 jobs, and then I had my black friends, and they were really like, really, how come you're getting like jobs? Like we've tried to get, you know, the same places that you've got, and we're not able to get jobs. And the thing is about, I know we talked about poverty before, but among, like in the black culture, what sometimes people don't see is, you know, white people judge us based on how they, in a classist way. So if they see that you fit a certain stereotype, then they feel a bit more threatening and look down more upon you. And I realised that from the environment which I grew up in, because I grew up with white people all my life. The primary school I went to I was the only black boy in my primary school, like I said before. I'm the only black guy my whole year when I was in high school. So I understand the mentality. So I had a lot of friends even say to me like, you know what, Ray, I don't really like black people, but you're okay, that kind of thing. It's a certain stereotype that they have from the media and from, you know, because they're not exposed to black culture. So the only reference to black culture that they have is through me and through the media. And of course, I'm just one person. And so the opinions that they have are going to be from the images and the profiles of black people that they see on TV or in films, or, you know, sports stars. So there's a kind of, you know, perception that they have, which they believe is to be true. And when you step out from that perception, they feel less threatened by you, and it's kind of a general thing within our society.
As a Kenyan, I'm not too sure. But as a mixed race, I mean, I don't even know what I am really and truly, but I think all cultures are just thriving, really.
What happened yesterday on the 19th of May was a historical change when we had Prince Harry and Meghan get married. Like, I followed the ceremony and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Like, I felt so connected, like if I was there, but I wasn't. But what really amazed me is 2 things, actually 3 things. First of all, because, you know, she's colored, and the social media destroyed her so much, being like, oh, no, the princess should be white, no one should get married to a mixed color, they always trouble people, they always, like, all this negativity for exactly 6 months went on and on about criticizing Meghan for everything that she's done in her past. Like, no one knew she was going to marry a prince, so, you know, let's tone it down a little. But what amazed me, for example, is the boy that was playing the, what was it, the violin? He was mixed, and I thought that was fantastic to have him play. And then you had the chorus, they were mixed race as well, and they were all singing together, and it was just history being paused for a moment and just being all together and being able to cherish the fact that historical changes are being made by having someone that's going to be mixed.
Let me start with music. Okay, Cardi B, she's Latino and she's Dominican and Jamaican or something like that. But just the way she is, like, that's just one kind of black woman. That's one kind of mixed race woman. And there's different kind of personalities that they don't put out there. I feel like for white people, there's so many examples out there, and there could be more. I feel like across the board there could be more. But I feel like for black people, it's the same kind of, oh, he's a gangster, he's a hood. So every single black person is carrying a gun. So my dad is carrying a gun. My dad has 2 chains. My dad has gold tooth. My dad wears Timberlands. There's not enough representation, I feel like, for black women as well. I mean, in the mainstream media, if you want to find someone that's educated and, dresses properly, not always showing their bum or their boobs, you're gonna have to dig deep, and then maybe the media doesn't promote that as much, and for some reason kids are not interested in being smart, because apparently it's not cool. Because the thing is about human beings is you need to have an example. Like when you're finding yourself, you copy at first to find yourself. Like I remember when I was trying to find my individuality, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a bit of that, take a bit of that, take a bit of that, then I can make it my own. And then after I'm like, you know what, and now I know what I am. But if you're trying to look for yourself and there's only a few examples shown, then you're going to start to feel like, okay, am I normal? Am I, you need to find yourself through these people. There needs to be more role models. I feel like in Disney Channel and for kids as well, there's like Zendaya that did Shake It Up, but there's still not enough. I feel like My Wife and Kids, they're trying. There's not this. That's old though. That's like 2000s, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and the other one as well. I forgot his name with the other actor. There used to be a lot of representation about black people in television, like families and stuff, and sister. But now it's just gone down. So I feel like now, if I put my mobile phone, go on Instagram, I just see twerking. That's what it is now. I'm just like, that's not me. It's why society's saying that should be me. So you automatically feel sexualized.
I don't feel as if I'm represented because it's very difficult being mixed race. I'm half Scottish, half Nigerian. So if I did have a politician that was represented me, if he was half Scottish, half Nigerian, then I'd probably be able to relate to it. Whereas not, as we're being more of a population that is mixed and has different ethnicities, it's much bigger and much wider. So I do have a few people that I look up to and I get a piece of what they're saying, but I don't have like one particular person because it's very difficult. We're all from a different background.
Reputation is important, but it needs to be a reflection of what the truth is. And in politics, there are politicians that represent, I think in all areas, say like sports or music and across industry, I feel in popular culture there is a lot of representation. I think other ethnic groups suffer more so than the black community in that respect. But I feel where we do suffer is that there isn't any, in terms of saying, in looking at it from a business perspective, like in lawyers, doctors, like professions that have that kind of esteem. There isn't really enough of it. Even though I've seen on some shows that they do have black doctors that come in, which is good. But I can only say that it is getting better, because there was a time where you wouldn't see any, and then if you did see anything, it would be a negative perception. But it's getting better. So there are. I feel like the whole idea of like there's more than one way to be black, and showing black people in professions that have esteem attached to it is good for a younger generation as well, because younger people need to see people that are like them in positions that they may have interest in. Because I think there's a lot of opportunities that can be missed for individuals when they feel like a certain industry or career isn't for them because of their race. So it's good to see people representing, black people in certain positions.
I really can say my mom. Yeah, my mom. Reason why I say that is we both have come a long way. A very, very, very long way. Looking back, I just wonder how she coped. I mean, I was the only one, but at certain times I do wonder how, especially with the influence around her, with our family and everything, all sorts. When she took herself away from certain voices, it just kind of cleared her from realizing the restraint it had on me. But yeah, I look at her now and I'm just like, yeah, she's someone that I really look up to. Absolutely, definitely. For all she's achieved so far and the pressures that she's had, especially having my brother and sister.
My mom, my dad, and my grandma. My grandma has so many fantastic stories of how she left Nigeria and then came to England, and my grandfather as well. Like, they, as a couple, they're like powering. They are amazing, actually. So my grandfather was a priest, and my grandma was his number one. So they did absolutely everything together. They opened a lot of churches around England. A lot of people didn't believe in them. They were saying there's no such thing as a black priest opening a Christian Protestant school or even church in England, especially in those days. It was like in the 1940s or something, so people were just very condescending of everything that happened to them. But in the end they managed, and they're very, very well recognized for all the hard work that they've always put into. Even nowadays, people call my grandma and they're like, "Hi mom, we need you to come over and just deliver this amazing speech to inspire a generation, to make them understand that, Christianity shouldn't die. There are so many people that still believe, we need you, blah, blah, blah." And she's had all these strong stories, and she was discriminated in all her ways. I don't know, she's just been so strong. I have so many stories I can't tell you now, but you just listen to her and you know how hard it was and how no one believed the vision that she had in those days, and how everyone was very, "Oh, it's not gonna work, why are you spending so much time doing this? I can't believe you're still standing by your husband, na na na." And it's like, again, who are you to judge? Because at the end of the day, the only person judging me is God. And she proved all these people wrong, and nowadays they're begging her to come to their church to give them a ceremony or to pray, or it's inspiring how she never gave up in every situation she was in. And I think my dad got that a lot from her. My dad has always told me, yes, you're gonna have hard days, yes, it's gonna be difficult, but the only thing you can do is continue, continue to believe, continue to be positive, and with the power of the family that we have, we're just gonna get through this. And even if you have low moments, it's okay, because we all have those, which is true. And my mom, she always is so positive that sometimes it's just like, I can't be more positive than her. And she always gives you this great advice, and on the moment, because you're so angry, you're like, "No, it's not possible." And then she repeats it to you one more time and you're like, "Actually, you know what? You're right. This is actually really working." And it's just inspiring, and I know that if I ever need anything, any sort of advice or anything, to be honest, they're always gonna be there for me, and they're always gonna be, "You know what? It's gonna be difficult, but we're here for you, and if you need to, we can sit down, we can pray about it, and I can listen to you, you can listen to me, whatever way works, but we can make this happen." So definitely, they're both very, very inspiring.
For now, for a long time, there's no one that inspires maybe some people like Michael Jackson has always expressed himself, Tupac because he's always saying the truth, you know, and he died. So it's people, maybe for now it's just people that want to say the truth, you know, people that like to speak out on things, and maybe they're scared to, but they still do it anyway for people's sake. People in history that have done things for people, like Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, that have said, just say the truth, you know. That's what I look up to, people like that. Like maybe like people, you know, that are trying to help others. I look up to that, but as a person, there's no one that I direct like.
The first three people that would inspire me is my mom, my dad, and my grandmother. But to be honest, I actually gain inspiration from everybody that I encounter on some level. It could be a designer, it could be an author. I find that there are so many pieces of knowledge that everybody has that I love. Because people do ask me, like, as a stylist, like, who's your favorite designer? I don't have a particular designer that I love. I pick from all of them and then I put them in a bundle, and then it makes me like the pieces of the puzzle. So yeah, I would say the world does inspire me, and I think that's important because you're not narrow-minded.
People that stand up for what they believe in, regardless of what anybody else says, those people inspire me. People who have courage to do what they believe is right. So, and just people in my personal life, people, celebrities, maybe that we all know, that do that. I know, like Muhammad Ali, he's inspirational, simply because he believed that, you know, in terms of the war, and he sacrificed a lot just for his beliefs in that period. But generally, it's just people that go against the tide. I mean, it's very easy to kind of follow what everybody else is doing, you know, but people that make a stand and have done anything in their lives when it wasn't popular, those people inspire me.
With my own goals, to just consistently push out messages, push out whatever it is that goes on in here, really. For racial equality, change, most definitely.
Education is so important. It really is. For example, I went to boarding school, and it was a boarding school in England, and when I go back to Paris and I tell people, you know, I went to boarding school in England, they just imagine this whole cliche of Harry Potter and the whole, like, the gowns and the schools and the houses, and they just kind of had that moment of looking back, they're like, but how were you accepted in such a big school? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's education at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or Chinese or Spanish, like, it's an education. My friend, who I still have contact with, has managed to get a scholarship in South Africa, and he's black, and he is loving his life there. And he told me if it was the opposite, then I would have probably ended up doing drugs on the side or not even having education. I wouldn't have understand or seen the point of an education. And now that he does, he's opening his own restaurant, and he has more understanding of how the world really works. And without an education, I'm not saying that, you know, you're stupid or whatever, I'm just saying that you understand more of the circle of life and how you can get away through things. So I believe there's a lot of changes that are happening, and I'm really happy about that. But more changes need to be done so that everyone can have access and understand why education is so important and where it could take you.
It's going to be very multiracial because there's a lot of mix happening. Like my half siblings are mixed race. They're quarter, what we call it, but they're, you know. So I feel like it's kind of going to be forgotten, like slavery. Like because there's different phases. I feel like it's gonna go, but we won't have that healing. We won't have that time to be like, look, we're very sorry for what we both did to each other. No, I feel like it's just gonna kind of fade out because we're all gonna be mixing like, oh, half Chinese, half this, half black and half Chinese, half white, half this, half African, half, and then there's not probably gonna be any racism anymore because we're all gonna realize that we're all one and we're all connected and there's no difference between one another. But I don't think politically and socially there's gonna be any like recovery, trauma, like a rest from having a trauma of that racism period. Because but if I have kids, 'cause I don't know much of mine again, I feel like it's gonna be very different. Because right now, for me, I feel like my generation is more like we're coming out of the more physical racism, like but now it's more like. I feel like for my kids, it's gonna be more like don't be rude. Like it's gonna be more like spoken, like in a formal way. So it's gonna be more put to the side, like in a good way. Like, look, that's racist. You don't say that. Like it's gonna be like bullying. Like, oh, like they're gonna put it in schools. Like if you see someone being racist to somebody, don't say that because it's not nice. And then, they're gonna put it in like the system. Like, okay, like old things. I feel like we're going through a learning. I feel like this whole life, human experience is a learning. It's like this planet is like a school. It's a school of life. So in the past, we know that having religious war is not good, so we don't do it. Even though it's so good behind the scenes, but it's not good, so we don't do it anymore. So we learn no one hangs anybody anymore, so we don't do it anymore. So racism is one of those things that, okay, we have to feel it. So right now we're really feeling it, especially in America. They're just taking it all in. It's the aftermath of all that. Like they're vomiting, they've eaten the food, and now they're like, it's the karma now. We're all getting that, and we need to go through that to be like, okay, so we've taken all in the karma effect of racism and everything that we've done to each other. So I feel like with the children now, they're going to have the best part. I feel like racism won't even go away to like my great grandchildren. Like this, it's going to take a long time because it just happened 100 years. It's been there for 400, 500 years. It's going to take a long time to mourn and breathe and take it all in. Look, make people aware that we're going through this time in our existence, but we need to be together. So we need to be together as a human race. We're like, look, we're the same, but let's just get through this together. So I feel like it's going to be a happy ending for sure, and then we'll move on and then something else will happen. The next drama, what's next?
I think we're at a stage where it is evolving, it's changing, we're more and more aware of it. So I only see it as something positive. Of course, we're going to go through a lot of heavy and situations that haven't been brought up to the table, but overall, I think that there's room for improvement. If everybody plays their role in making that change in themselves and affecting your community on some level, it has to come from education. It has to come from a place where you feel insecurity, like I would say family or at school. There is a lot of improvement that needs to be done, but yeah, no, I think it can. That's where it happens. That's where the root of it. That's where it starts.
Well, for my future, what I perceive that I'll be doing within the next few years would be consequence from what I'm doing now in branding and design. So, and also because I'm at this moment as well, I'm getting into art, like design. So I want to be able to have like galleries and maybe just have like an art show. My business partner also is a photographer. He does photography as well. So for our company and for ourselves, we're looking at ways that we can explore our own creativity, because in the work that we do, it's quite limited. So you can't really be as creative when you're working for a client. But if you're able to express, how you feel or your thoughts or ideas in a way that you can fully control. Like it's the kind of feeling I get when I'm like painting or illustrating. It's like the freedom to put your thoughts or ideas into, say, a canvas or on screen. That's what I get kind of a satisfaction from doing, like, being able to express myself that way. So that's what I hope to continue to do in the future. In respect to race, I feel as though the way that we look at race present day, I feel as though we're kind of looking at it in the wrong way and having the meaning associated with myself in describing who I am. Because, being a designer as well, you understand that colours all have meanings, and the meanings that they have are not controlled by individuals. They're all found in nature. And black and darkness are associated with negative connotations. Race is a social construct, and colour is used to perpetuate a certain meaning or an idea with people. And I don't believe that in the future that colour should be used to to offer meaning to how a group of people are. I think using things like colour, to me, is self-destructive. We hang on to a certain way of thinking that understand that it was created centuries ago, this idea of racism, and for what we have today is a consequence of it. So the moment we try and yield to certain ideas by trying changing the meaning, it's like we don't really change the meaning, we just keep the word I'm looking for, it's like we just keep compounding the issue. It's like there's no human being on the planet that is black. We're all different skin tones, so let's not talk about ourselves in respect to colours. We can talk about ourselves in respect to cultural groups or to, the area or backgrounds that we come from. They have more meaning about who we are as people than our colour does, because at this moment that we live in, the way that we, like, even the colour black is about fear, is danger, and this is and we shouldn't be using certain words to describe to describe people. And I think if we can look at gender and people are coming up with different ideas to describe gender, then why can't we do the same with race?